As the largest land-mass country in the world, spanning 9 time zones and 6.6 million square miles, there is much more to the complex nation. The present country has gone through phases of communism and chaos to become today's self-proclaimed democracy. Russia has always been one of those countries that comes across enigmatic and unknown to most foreigners. If you look further into its history, you can see it is a land of mysteries, secrets, and political turmoil. 7 shocking facts that will be sure to shake up your views on the Russian Federation. These cities have residents living their day-to-day lives, but even if they want family to visit, they will need a special permit. Foreign visitors are completely forbidden from visiting the secret cities of Russia even today. Today's closed cities that are known publicly are mostly connected to military and nuclear research centers. Velyuchinsk, situated on Kamchatka Peninsula in the far east of the country, is a base for nuclear submarine construction. Zeleznogorsk, out in the middle of Siberia, is Russia's center for plutonium production. Last, there is Sarov, Russia's main center for nuclear research. This closed city is most famous for being home to the most powerful nuclear weapon ever created. Beyond these publicly known closed cities, there are still many completely unknown to the public and not even put onto maps in order to maintain their secrecy. Studies show that 1 in 4 Russian men will die before they turn 55. Perhaps Russians should begin to consider the negative effects of heavy liquor drinking. The average adult in Russia consumes 20 liters of vodka per year. Although deaths related to alcohol have dropped since the 1990s, alcohol is still the 3rd highest cause of avoidable death in Russia. Cardiovascular disease and stroke-related deaths are very high in Russia, 65% to be exact. This can also be linked back to heavy cigarette use amongst Russians and the generally poor concern for personal health in the country. Moscow used to reign for the number of billionaires who called Russia home. Moscow had the #1 title, housing 84 of the world's billionaires. Moscow is still home to some 71 billionaires. In 2019 alone, these men were worth $421 billion combined. They have estimated that a staggering 89% of Russia's wealth is controlled by the richest 10% of the population. The Russian President, Vladimir Putin, is a part of the wealthy few controlling not only the money but also the politics of the enigmatic nation. Most people do not know how weirdly superstitious Russians can be. Russians do not believe in shaking hands in a doorway, sitting at the corner table, or you will be forever unmarried, or saying happy birthday before the actual day. If you want to avoid some angry Russians while visiting, do not do these things. Even weirder, Russians do not believe you are allowed to whistle inside. It would be best to avoid humming your favorite tune in this country. Superstition says that if you do, you are in for bad financial luck in the future. Russian women outnumber the men in Russia by a whopping 11 million. It is believed that during World War II that the number of men decreased significantly after the war took the lives of over 25 million soldiers. In modern day, though, this trend has worsened due to the high abuse of alcohol and cigarettes throughout the former USSR countries. The low life expectancy as a result of drug and alcohol abuse has solidified the low number of males in the region. The gender ratio in Russia is currently 86.8 men per 100 women. Starting in 2013, Putin cracked down on the ability of the gay community to express themselves. The Russian government created a gay propaganda ban, stating that same-sex relationships are not socially acceptable and even labeled them as illegal under Russian law. What most people have not heard in the media is that Russian officials are actually sending gay members of the community to prison, or worse, labor camps. These gay people who have been detained and tortured have come forth saying they were electrocuted and beaten until the point of revealing the names of others who may be gay. These horrendous acts have not gone unnoticed, though. Activists have been helping people escape the region since the persecution began. For a developed country, Russia has an alarmingly high number of people living with HIV and AIDS. Recently, the number reached 1.2 million people living with HIV in the country. Shockingly, this number is not under control. Each year, the rate of infected people is rising 10 to 15% in Russia. This means over 250 people are becoming infected every day. Studies have found that this number comes from the high use of injectable drugs in the country. Around 1.8 million people, or 2.3% of the population, uses injectable drugs. The other majority of the infected people comes from sexual partners. Around 49% of new infections come from heterosexual partners. Evidently, the partners of sex workers and those who use injectable drugs are at higher risk to become infected. The estimates show that around 500,000 Russians are living with HIV and do not even know it. The most common reason they are not testing themselves is the lack of access to testing. The Russian government has acknowledged the HIV crisis in the country, and measures are being taken to increase sexual education and accessibility of resources to curtail the epidemic.